Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we have Weasel with us.
Hello.
Yay. Yeah, we're gonna do a new armor tutorial. It's a little better than the last one. And we're gonna talk about some new armor that's been made. Some more armor advancements. The pinnacle of armor, you might say. At least for now. We've pretty well maxed it out. Can't get rid of this. Alright. So there's pretty much basics. There's 4 generations of armor, and there's only one difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2 to 4, and that's basically just changing it from solid blocks to spaced armor. So first I'll just show off some Gen 1 armor, which would be this. This right here used to be your best armor. Do you know why that is, Weasel?
So, obviously the density and the amount of blocks would make it more resistant, I guess.
Yes. And because it's grid blocks, there's kind of a theory that explosion rays will bounce off of angled surfaces. So because it's made out of grid blocks, the shell's theoretically explosion should kind of bounce off. So if you want to shoot that, anchored it. That's a shot of 4. Got all your cannons still. And one more shot, and yeah, it's kind of gone. So
That's pretty...
It's alright. Yeah, but it used to be pretty good. I mean, we all accidentally use it, so it's good enough, clearly.
I can see autocannons kind of do tear through it, though. Or at least, spaced shots.
Autocannons generally do more damage because you don't have the chance of hitting the same block with your shell. So you're not going to accidentally waste your damage. That's why I like to use the autocannons. They just deal more damage because they don't suck. But for solid block armor, if you're just going to use block armor, you need at least 6 layers to protect you from, like, anything. Because 6 layers is about where damage spreads and kind of stops at 6-ish layers. So if you're using pure block armor, use at least 6 layers. Doesn't matter really what block it is, but grid block is nice and light. So that's good. So that would be your Gen 1 armor. Now I'm going to pull out our Gen 2 armor. So for this armor, we went more into weight blocks, clearly.
I mean, yeah, weight blocks are one of the strongest blocks in the game, but why spaced armor, though?
Well, you see, the spaced armor, because since damage spreads through blocks, if you put a space between the blocks, the damage stops spreading. So if you want to go ahead and shoot this. So that only got through, I think, what, like 2 layers of our spaced armor? Yeah, I do have a lot more.
With the grid blocks, it went way more through with the grid blocks.
With the grid blocks, it practically instantly, for the grid blocks, it would destroy 3 layers of this armor, but that only destroyed 2. Want to go ahead and shoot again, just to make sure?
There, with repeated shots. I think
It did about the same. I think you shot a little off to the left. But it didn't go all the way through. For the same armor.
That's pretty strong.
And it's also helping because we got shield in front of the weight blocks. It's kind of helping resist some of that damage. Slowing it down a little bit. So is that 1 layer you got through? And you barely got through the second? So that's pretty good armor. Compared to just pure block armor, that's pretty good. So this would be your Gen 2 armor, and I still use this even on my best tanks. Just because it's pretty cheap and easy to do, and it protects you well enough. It's very effective in the side and the back, where you don't have a lot of complexity left or need to spend. And then we kind of got our Gen 3 armor here. So the main difference between Gen 2 and Gen 3 is you got a layer of grids in front of the weight blocks. So it makes the armor a little more dense. But if you shoot this, it should not go all the way through still.
Alright, let me position.
Yeah, so the first layer is gone, and you damage some of the second layer. But the weight blocks of the second layer is still here.
Seen,
So,
they're like pristine, basically, except for like
yep.
the bottom right one.
Yeah, so basically the grid blocks and the shields absorbed all the damage for the second layer. So it kind of lets it tank it a little more. There you go. The weight blocks are pretty much, again, pristine on the second layer. So I got through less, and the armor doesn't have to be as big for the same armor. So this used to be a best for quite a long time. And then, Gen 4 armor, which is the same concept as Gen 2 and 3, but is a lot more complexity heavy and a lot more dense.
I can
But
see like it does combine both the qualities of composite armor and spaced armor.
yep. So basically, anchor pins on their own can tank like 15 cannon shots. It's been a while since I tested, but they can tank about 15 shots from one cannon. But the problem with anchor pins is the block behind them gets destroyed before they use up their durability. So that's why I've never liked using them tanks, because when you get to about 4 or more cannons, the anchor pins are pretty well useless, because the blocks behind them don't tank anything. But, because I'm also using them in a checkerboard pattern with these tube tees, the tube tees kind of act like the panels and the grid blocks on the Gen 3 armor. They absorb the damage, and the anchor pins tank what's left with the weight blocks behind. So if you want to go ahead and shoot this. That didn't even get through the first layer.
Damn. I guess I did shoot a little too far right, but
Either
I
way,
tanked most of it.
90% of the first layer is still there. Want to try again? So straight on, got through half of the first layer, and didn't even touch the second layer. There's a little bit of splash damage, but overall, this armor is still very intact. And this, keep in mind, this is the exact same length as the Gen 1 armor. And it tanked, like, 100% more. So you could probably shoot this another 2 or 3 times, theoretically.
Alright. Well, let's test with repeated shots now.
Alright. Fair. Alright. So the repeated shot did, I think you aimed a little off to the side again, but it did get a little bit further.
I think it's because my cannons are off to the side.
That's why I gave you an aiming camera,
Yeah, but even so, the recoil.
I guess. Alright, try again. Looks about centered. So the repeated shot did about the same, actually. And you know why that is? Because the anchor pins, by themselves, can tank 15 shots from one cannon. So the anchor pins help resist the autocannon. Because you can see it did just about the same damage as it did with the full shot of 4. No other armor I've created yet can survive that many shots, even from an autocannon. But this one can do it, because it uses the broken amount of health that the anchor pins have.
Second shots.
Mm-hmm.
Third. 4 shots and it's still alive.
Yeah, there's a little
How
bit
does
left.
like Gen 3 and Gen 2 compare?
So if I shrink them all down to that size, let me find it. So many files I gotta dig through. So we'll pull out Gen 3, so I gotta get rid of that.
Oh. Okay, let's see. 1.
Nope.
There.
It took 2. Let me respawn it and pin it to the ground here. Alright, there you go. 1 shot. 2 shot and it's gone. It's completely gone. Nothing exists. So that's pretty
The
good.
Gen 4 really is the strongest of all armors.
Yep. If I try and grab, where is it? Gen 2. So this one's got 3 layers, just like the Gen 4 armor. And it's got some clear spacing, so if you want to shoot this. 1 shot and it's half gone. 2 shot and it's, again, gone.
Damn.
So yeah, I'd say there's a pretty big difference. And if we just grab poor Gen 1, you know, we cut it in half. Actually, no, it's too much. Ugh. No, actually, Gen 1 stays at its original size. Alright, shoot this. It didn't even survive one.
Yeah, what armor? Oh, there's still a piece over there.
Those might have been previous tests, we don't know.
Oh, this is definitely the test we just did.
Well, there's a piece.
I saw them fall from the sky.
There's a piece that flew away. I'm gonna respawn now. Oh, help! Help!
What?
Help! Anyways, you didn't see that. Oh my god, I almost did it again. But yeah. Compared from Gen 1 to Gen 4, there's a major difference. And also, yes, I have made a Gen 4 armor that's slightly weaker, that doesn't require the weight blocks. Should be this right here. But it's a lot thicker.
So this is for lighter tanks.
This would be for your light tanks. So if you want to shoot this... But still, it did not really get through the first layer. I mean, it kind of did, but it didn't. Oh, where'd the armor go?
I think I might have shot off the anchor bin. Yeah, it's just a giant chunk flying away.
Let me just spawn a few more anchor pins here. Every layer is held into the ground, technically. Alright, try again. You did it again. You shot off all the anchor pins. Aim a little higher. Just a little higher. My guy!
I aimed higher, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
My armor. It just keeps flying away. Okay, try again. There, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, tank's about the same amount.
Yeah. It did damage the second layer, but it's still mostly there. This would still be better off. You'd be better off with this than Gen 2 armor. You could probably shoot it. You shot the anchor pin. I know you did.
I know.
Oh yeah, that's your Gen 4 armor with grids instead of weight blocks. Weight blocks are just nice because you don't need to waste an extra layer just to get the armor. Now let's actually bring it down. So this would be about the same size we've been testing. Alright, shoot at that. The anchor pin.
Okay, that time...
The chunk is flying away. High. The chunk is literally across the carrier. Weasel, please. Please!
I'm literally aiming high. Hold on. Let me go into my camera. I still aimed even more up and it flew away.
Okay, hold on. Let me make a weight block background.
Make the entire bottom anchor pins.
No, it doesn't help because I think only one like anchors in here. Let me just... Okay, there we go. The bottom is held. The anchor pins are held in by weight blocks. It shouldn't die. Alright, try again.
Okay. Make sure to aim a little higher.
Perfect.
Okay.
So that's one shot. The armor is mostly there still. Shoot again. 2 shot, the first layer is finally gone, but it's still there. Shoot again. And 3 shot, it's all gone. So I'd say it tanks about 1 less shot than the weight block version. But it's still pretty good. So I've been using this stuff in many a tanks. So I'm gonna just show how to build everything but Gen 1, because Gen 1 is literally that. This is Gen 1 armor. That's as easy as it gets. Alright, let's find my weight block. Where's the weight block? Here's the weight block. So we got our weight blocks, and then your side weight blocks. This can be any size. It doesn't have to be this specific size. But I use about this size for kind of my tanks. You can make it wider, skinnier. You could even make it like a 1x1 hole, since we have the new 1x1 panels. But this is just a good size. You can use any type of panels in the spacing. Technically, the more panels, the better, because it's just more to absorb. But if you're just trying to stop cannons, probably just use 2x2s, so that you don't waste any complexity. But if you want to help resist against miniguns, you can use your 1x2s and 1x1 cannon panels. That will dearly help against the miniguns, since the miniguns kind of don't hit pure accurately. So this right here is how you build your Gen 2 armor. And then you can just copy and paste it. Then for Gen 3, do the same backing. Kind of do the same backing for all the armors. Get your layer. And then you grab a layer of grids. And then you throw your panel on top. So you make your Gen 3. It's a little harder to copy and paste since the layers are 3 blocks. But it's still pretty easy to do. Gen 3 armor. And then our favorite, Gen 4. Which is the strongest, and I don't know if there's any way to make it stronger or make armor just better. There is only one block in the game, Weasel, that has higher health than the anchor pin. Do you know what block that is?
No.
It's the golem track. This thick boy has a little bit more armor than the anchor pin. But the problem is, it weighs 200 kilograms, and you use these on the sides of your tanks. So trying to make this an armor is hard.
What if I were to make a tank out of it right now?
Good luck, they're really big. So basically,
I got this.
This right here is your pattern for your Gen 4 armor. You got anchor pins going in diagonal patterns. And depending on how wide it is, you're going to change where the middle point is where they meet. I like to have the center point where they meet up high, since you're generally not going to shoot under the armor. Weasel, what in the world is that?
It's my armor.
I guess
I'm going to call this the Gen 0.5.
Yep, sounds about right. The other problem with the golem tracks being armor is, they're massive. So the second they get destroyed, you have a giant hole in your tank. But this right here is how you make the Gen 4 armor. This is what it looks like. You got your pattern.
Oh, I missed that. Oh.
It looks like your tracks on the sides are gone. But it still almost looks worse than Gen 4 armor. Yeah, this right here is your Gen 4 armor. I like to have the most anchor pins on the top to absorb the most damage and to help with miniguns, because these will eat miniguns forever. And it's, again, easy to copy and paste. So you can make this as long as you want, but the problem is, the longer the heavier it is and the more complexity is. This right here is 204 complexity. This will probably tank about like 15 shots. But do you have enough complexity to make your tank this long? And use that much armor?
Probably not.
So for bigger builds, probably use Gen 2 and Gen 3 armor. They're a lot less complexity and they still do the job. But if you're doing a kind of a medium-sized tank, like if you're using a tank that uses either one golem track or like 2 raw tracks stacked side by side or something like this, even maybe with some more length, this is a good size for Gen 4 armor. And again, you can use the Gen 4 armor anywhere, just like all the other armors. It's a little easier to put together than the Gen 3 armor, because you can still do it in a 2x2 or a 1x2. Can't really do it in a 1x1 because you need the tube and the anchor pin, since the tube absorbs like half the damage. And you can also build your Gen 2 or your Gen 3 armor with tubes instead of grids. That will also increase its armor a bit. since at that point, more blocks the better. It'll just help it in general. So I'm gonna kind of rank these armors now on strength, lightness for your tank, and complexity used. So your Gen 1 armor, I mean, it's probably some of the cheaper armor, if you think about it. Actually, no, this Gen 1 armor would actually be slightly more complex than Gen 2 armor. But the nice thing about the Gen 1 armor is it's made out of some of the lightest blocks ever, and it can be made out of pretty well any blocks. So Gen 1 armor I would put as like the top for agility for your tank, lightness for your tank, whatever. But I would not put it fully in cheapest, since you do gotta use a grid block, which is a 1x2 everywhere for the armor. I'm not even gonna question what that is, Weasel.
Yeah, I'm using Gen 1 armor, if you look closely. Oh,
Hold on.
my tank doesn't like this whatsoever. As you can see though,
You did,
I can barely tank anything.
You did worse than just pure Gen 2 armor. Congrats.
I think it's also because I just have 1,000 watt groups in that thing.
Yeah, another thing is don't smash armor together. You can try if like you put pistons and a lot of connection points far away. But the problem is the second your armor gets broken off inside of itself, that armor is just going to implode and blow everything up. So don't piston glitch, don't hinge glitch armor together.
I can confirm, because this was my Yak Tiger or whatever, which has piston glitched armor, but once I tank enough shots, it'll blow up. So.
Yep. Next, for the armor ranking, you got your Gen 2 armor. It's a lot heavier. But it is a lot, it's probably 100% better than the Gen 1 armor. So for strength, I would put it like halfway in strength, I guess. It's still lighter than some of the other armors. So I would still put it like probably halfway in the speed category. And it's probably the cheapest armor that you can make. It's literally like 2 blocks for the actual armor plate. And then it's just 2 more blocks of weight blocks on the side when you're done. Or these could even be tracks. These don't have to be weight blocks. These could be tracks on the side. So I'd say Gen 2 armor is the cheapest on the list. Gen 3, it's a little more comp heavy. So that kind of sucks. And it's also a little heavier since you need some grids. So both of those, they're not really friendly on the light scale. But they still get the job done. Their strength is definitely better than Gen 1. Anything is almost better than Gen 1. That's pretty good to know, at least. And the comp on the Gen 3, well, it's still a lot more. Because it's like 5 blocks. Right? No, it's like 4. I think it's like 4 blocks-ish for the entire armor. So that's not good. That's a lot more complexity. But overall, it's still pretty good armor. And then you got your best, the Gen 4. It's like 5 complexity for a 2x2 of space. It's a lot. It's the most comp heavy. It's probably also the heaviest, since tubes aren't very light. And it's also using anchor pins, which every now and then when you spawn your tank in, the anchor pins will just grab the ground and throw you into oblivion. It's also most likely the heaviest armor other than just pure weight blocks. And it's very uncomp friendly. But on the strength meter, it just maxes out completely. There's nothing I found that's better.
So I'd probably say Gen 2 is probably number one just for complexity wise and also the strengths that it gives you.
Yep.
You can make your tanks very large, and obviously size is also kind of a factor here.
Yep.
Like I have this tank I made with Gen 2 if you can look on the bottom.
Yep.
And obviously you can see I was able to make this very large and it can tank a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I had another one that used Gen 2, but I think I might have deleted it.
Yeah.
Then number 2 is probably Gen 4. Because it tanks the most, it's just the most complex, so your tanks mostly need to be denser.
Yeah, this thing actually uses the grid block Gen 4 armor for the front.
Ooh.
It's got a little bit, but it's still there. Mostly because it's a small tank. It can have the armor without very much sacrifice. And I literally created the Gen 4 armor with grid blocks just for light tanks like this. Because they kind of need to move fast, and they're probably not going to be big anyway, so comp doesn't matter. So, yeah, I guess grid Gen 4 would probably be what, like 3.5 on the Gen scale?
Yeah.
Or just categorize it with Gen 4. But it's not as strong as
rank
pure.
Yeah, Gen 4 is number 2. Number 3 is, well, Gen 3.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, Gen 3 is number 2. I mean, not,
Yo,
oh
you
my
are
god, I'm actually so
lost.
bad at this.
You are so
I'm
lost.
so lost. Okay, Gen 2 is number 1. Gen 4 is number 2. Gen 3 is number 3. Just
Yeah.
because for what it offers, it's not that protecting, and it's also complex.
Yeah, it's a little more complexity for not too much armor gain, but it's still armor gain. So, I mean, if you have the space and the comp, you might as well use it over
And
Gen 2.
guess what? Guess what number 4 on the list is?
Gen 4.5. Or 3.5, whatever it is. Because, yeah, the grid Gen 4 armor is obviously the most complex. But it's also the second lightest on the list, because there's not a singular weight block in it. And on the strength scale, it's above the Gen 3, but slightly below the Gen 4. Still Gen 4, but it's just slightly weaker due to the size restraint of complexity.
And what shall we place in number 5?
Gen 1.
No, I think Gen 1's the strongest, guys.
Definitely. Holy flags. Yeah, I recommend getting used to using Gen 4 armor in your builds, so that you can just be invincible.
Even if it was just like a small amount, I think you could improve the armor on your builds pretty significantly.
3 layers of Gen 4 is enough to tank 4 shots of 4. That's already a lot. This thing has a lot of Gen 4 armor in the front. A lot. I'm not gonna show it because this is the best tank I've made so far.
Ooh.
And its turret also has some Gen 4 armor. So this thing is really complex. Yeah, don't worry about it. This thing is really complex, and it's also quite big. It's also 11... It's like 11,000 kilograms, so it's not very fast. It's going 35, 36 miles per hour. So it's slower than the average tank, since tank tracks kind of cap out your speed. Unless you're really light and nimble, whatnot. And use thrusters. But it also is... It takes a lot to get through this thing. So it's always nice to have a light tank and I'd say a super heavy. You can get both ranges of speed and armor. But I think that'll be all. There's not really much else to talk about for armor today. Because I don't really think there's anything else to talk about. Also, I said in the last armor tutorial I did that hull blocks helped resist against damage. They only help with ramming. I figured out, so...
Yeah.
If you're building a ramming tank, or you want to help against people that are using ramming tanks, there are a couple of hull blocks inside. They basically become invincible to ramming. And it could also be nice to throw some hull blocks inside your tank if you don't want to die instantly to the ground.
Yeah.
The problem is fitting them.
I shall show off the evil of
Oh
hull
my-
blocks. Where is it? Where's my beautiful creation? Yes.
I'm gonna spawn in this old super heavy, because this thing actually was really strong to ramming tanks for no reason. So I guess come and
Alright.
ram me. Yeah,
There-
you actually took more damage than me.
I fell in the water. Thankfully, I'm amphibious because of the extra hull blocks on my sides.
Yeah, but technically, that tank I just used, I have no idea why, but it's nearly invincible to ramming. Let me grab my first, quote-unquote, super heavy tank, which used Gen 1 armor. This thing was invincible for so long. Let's see if your, ramming brick will do something.
Whee!
Yeah, so my entire front plate is just gone.
I'm not even damaged.
Yeah, he's not even damaged. I'm missing my entire front plate, and I also got thrown into the ocean. No, like, go to the other end of the carrier. And I'll ram into you at full speed as well. So that maximum collision damage. Alright, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Am I supposed to ram too?
Yes, bro. You chud.
My
Alright.
max speed isn't that much though, either or. My acceleration's too fast. So that was basically it.
Okay, try again. That was miserable. You've, like, failed.
Yo. Hey, don't shoot me. You're compromising the integrity of my hull blocks.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
We.
Oh, so you took a bit of damage, but also my tank is 90% gone.
We're
Or,
like
75.
55, no, like
Okay, it just-
45% gone.
No, it just
Yeah.
hit me at kind of lower speed, just like come and ram me. Yeah, so about half my tank got slightly damaged, but not much of you were damaged.
Oh.
Oh. So the whole blocks are still there, and my entire back of my tank is kind of destroyed.
I do believe the counter for hull blocks though is large pontoons.
Or golem tracks. If you didn't know, golem tracks are also like immune to ramming. They're just like immune. So that's fun.
So if someone somehow makes a ramming tank out of this video,
That's
just do
your
any of
counter.
those.
Also, you can use magnets that attract, which sounds wrong, but if you grab the tank that's ramming you, they can't re-ram you. They're stuck with you permanently. So this here was the
Yeah.
original anti-ram tank, so you want to come at me.
Yeah, funny story.
Funny
I did make
story.
this to counter this after I used it way too many times.
Wow, and now the anti-ram tank did absolutely nothing. It does have a few
Hold on.
flukes, so try that again.
Okay. Incoming.
Okay, so you took about
Think
more damage than me overall.
Yeah, and then
that-
it kind of reveals my like paper armor underneath.
Yeah, the problem is these tanks aren't very strong, because you need a lot of power cores for thrust.
Yeah.
So they power core explode a lot. Run it again, let's try and actually get like a good show of the magnets actually catching you. Alright, just come at me.
Alright. Me, back up. Whee!
Okay,
Oh.
so this game just doesn't want to have it for me today. I will say though, the magnets in testing do actually grab you. You're ramming at a little slower speed. There we go. Okay, so now he's attached to me.
You gotta remember,
And,
this isn't like ramming like dead on isn't usually going to be the first combat scenario. It's usually a
Nope.
lot of curving, so
Yeah.
magnets would help a lot.
Yeah, there you go. You're mine. And now I can kind of shoot off your turret. Or I can just
I can barely do
hold
any
mini.
damage to him.
Yeah, I have a lot of hull blocks on this, and the front plate is made of dingy blocks and whatnot to help resist. But there you go, you're dead. And this thing is also made with a ton of just Gen 2 armor, so it's still hard to get through, even though you can't really tell. Yeah, there you go. I still took a lot of damage, but you can't do much. Also, you built this thing kind of poorly, so you have no, like, gun depression. So you can't actually hit me here.
I sort of have gun depression. Hold on, wait.
Problem is, if I'm
How
touching
many
you,
do I, how much? Yeah, I can't shoot over.
and I can also just minigun straight into you.
Yeah, I have like 5 degrees of gun depression. I think that's good enough.
Yeah, and then I just core you out with miniguns. So yeah. And in the Discord, if you would like to join, it's in my profile. But we have some rules in place to kind of stop from building those tanks because they also are kind of boring looking. They're just literal squares with a lot of thrust.
This one's actually a rectangle.
Close enough. But there's no thought into it. It's just build a box, put whole blocks all around it, and put a gun on top that can somewhat aim. Now we've also limited the thruster amount so that you can't just make anything go Mach 1. Anyways, I think that'll be all.
I forgot this was...
Yeah?
This was my first kind of generation of the super heavies.
Why is it sideways?
At least my attempt of, you know, super heavy.
Why is your back left track in the ground?
I have no clue.
Just repair the tank.
Why does it keep going in the ground?
There seems to be a bug where tracks forget to exist. But anyways, your turret seems to be able to at least tank a shot.
Yeah, and then my cannons are exposed.
And your side
then
just
if you shoot
gets
my
rid
side.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, shoot my side again.
Oh, I kind of missed. Ugh. Yeah, your side is kind of depressing. But your side shouldn't need to be
it is
that hard.
important to always upgrade your turrets, because
Yes.
this, I don't think even is that tanky. I literally have like air as part of my armor composition.
Yeah.
Nope.
How did... There we go. Oh, yeah. I think that'll be
physics, by the way, guys.
Yeah, realistic physics. But I think that'll be all for this video. We've literally talked about everything that does with tanks, practically, for armor. Anything else you would like to add, Weasel, before we send it off?
Please don't build a ramming brick.
Fair point. They're kind of boring. Anyways, I'll see you guys next one. Remember, all Trailmakers. Bye.